we know that Sony and Microsoft are going back and forth, and I talked about this kind of at length in various videos, but right now Microsoft is firing back at a rate that I've never really seen them do before, and I have to say it's refreshing to see them do that. I think so many people have wanted to have Microsoft fight back and to do something that, you know, that can actually mean something in this whole console space. I know everybody likes to play nice and, you know, oh, this guy's a nice, like, they play that style, right? Oh, well, Phil claims to be this nice guy, and then they try and do, like, listen, Phil has stuck by a lot of his word of the things that he said. They haven't bought content and kept it off PlayStation, like, you know, DLC and things like PlayStation does that. They haven't bought big AAA games and kept it off PlayStation. I think the last one they did that was Tomb Raider for a year or whatever, but they helped fund that game, so, you know, you kind of understand that. But that was 2014. You know, Sony, on the other hand, does this with a ton of games. They did it with Ghostwire Tokyo. They did it with Deathloop. In fact, they tried to do it with Starfield, which is kind of funny. You know, they buy Call of Duty content exclusive to PlayStation to make it more attractive to buy the game on PlayStation. You know, they buy Final Fantasy rights. You know, they do whatever they can to keep content off Xbox, and whenever Xbox tries to do something to fight back, it seems like Sony cries foul and says they shouldn't be able to do that, right? It's utterly ridiculous. And I am just ecstatic, beyond freaking belief, that Microsoft is out here just kind of making Sony look bad, and Sony's making themselves look bad, and this response by Microsoft has been thrilling, absolutely thrilling. So yeah, I want to get into this. This is going to be a damn good video. What's up, everybody? I'm Crap Gamer Reviews with another video, of course. Please hit that like button. I'm looking to get 100 likes on each of the videos, would just be fantastic. And you know what? Hey, you guys can help me out, help the channel out, and things like that. So Microsoft fires back at the UK competition regulator's decision to expand its inquiry into the corporation's proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard. In September, the Competitions Market CMA said its inquiry into the almost $70 billion merger had officially been expanded to a second phase due to a number of antitrust concerns. This past week, the CMA detailed its full reasoning for its concerns, including the impact on competition in the consoles, game streaming, and subscription spaces. Responded to the CMA's decision, Microsoft has now called the regulator's concerns misplaced and claims that it adopts Sony's complaints without the appropriate level of critical review. Basically saying that they kind of kiss Sony's ass and they aren't really paying attention to what's going on. These unsupported theories of harm is not sufficient to justify a reference to Phase 2, according to Microsoft. The suggesting that the incumbent market leader with clear and enduring market power could be foreclosed by the third largest provider as a result of losing access to one title is not credible. While Sony may not welcome increased competition as it does have the ability to adapt and compete. The Xbox owner referenced Sony's leading position in the console market, citing an install base of 150 million users versus Xbox's 63.7 million. Sony engages in conduct today which is reflective of its market power in console gaming, including increasing prices of its console without fear of losing market share, according to its reference recent PS5 price rises in some territory. Obviously. So, Microsoft also noted Sony's own recent acquisitions of companies such as Bungie and Haven, and claimed that as of 2021, there were over 280 first and third-party exclusive titles on PlayStation in 2021, nearly 5 times as many as on Xbox. In short, Sony is not vulnerable to a hypothetical foreclosure strategy, and the referral decision incorrectly relies on self-serving statements by Sony, which significantly exaggerate the importance of Call of Duty, and, you know, and for it to neglect to account for Sony's clear ability to be competitive. While, this is the part that I really love, listen, while Sony may not welcome increased competition, it has the ability to adapt and compete. Gamers will ultimately benefit from this increased competition and choice. Microsoft reiterated its intention to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation consoles, claiming that taking the series away would tarnish Xbox and Call of Duty brands themselves. The company also argued that bringing Activision Blizzard games to Game Pass would offer more choice. Finally, stating that if players were to choose to leave PlayStation for Xbox, It would be because Xbox is offering that additional choice over the competition. Should any consumers decide to switch from a gaming platform that does not give them the choice on how to play new games to one that does, which would be Xbox, then it is the sort of consumer switching behavior that the CMA should consider welfare enhancing and indeed encouraging. It is not something that the CMA should be trying to should prevent. In the CMA's extensive summary of its decision to expand its inquiry, it said it's concerned about the deal could harm PlayStation and other game subscription services should Microsoft make Activision Blizzard content exclusive to its platform. The regulator says it's also concerned that Microsoft could use the content to outcompete game streaming rivals such as Amazon and Nvidia. After examining a range of evidence, the CMA believes that the merger meets the threshold for reference of an in-depth Phase 2 investigation, giving rise to a realistic prospect of substantial loosening of competition. The proposed acquisition is currently being scrutinized by regulators across the world during a time of increasing consolidation. Phase 2 of this, however, has seated appointed an independent panel to scrutinize the deal further detail and evaluate if it's more than likely than not to result in substantial lessening of competition. Ultimately, the CMA has the authority to block mergers and acquisitions from being complete if it does determine that the appropriate action isn't taken to address the concerns and things like that. But again, Microsoft is doing a fantastic job of pretty much explaining exactly why this is something that shouldn't be blocked. And you know what? I think that this is exactly what Microsoft needed to do. Like, people just expected them not to come out and comment. Of course they're going to come out and comment. Man, personally, I hope Microsoft just continues to stick it to Sony, right? Like, Sony needs that little, like, I'm sure a lot of us had this kind of thing growing up, right? Maybe it was just my era, but we always had that punk, right? That punk in your school or that punk in your class that would just try everybody, right? And they're usually, probably some short, or, like some shorty or whatever, big little man syndrome or whatever they call that, where they think that they're hot stuff, right? And they just try everybody, right? And then, they pick on the kid, and the kid explodes on them and just kicks the crap out of them the one day. Like Sony, and I get that Microsoft is a bigger company as Microsoft, but Xbox as a company certainly, hasn't been like the true competition to Sony. And Sony always, blah, 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 and I think now Sony just like picked on them. And Microsoft finally slapped the piss out of them, right? And I'm here for it, right? Sony gets what they deserve when it comes to this kind of stuff. They, would take the piss out on Microsoft all the time, make the jokes, buy the content. Hell, Microsoft's own studios that they just bought had to put exclusive content first on PlayStation, right? Microsoft probably could have got out of those deals. It would have cost them money or whatever, but they could have definitely got out of those deals and not put those on PlayStation, but they chose to live up to the agreements. Now, to me, that shows that they're willing to kind of be the good guys. And at the end of the day, I don't think there's like good guys, bad guys, or per se, but I think Microsoft definitely is trying to do the best they can for their gamers. And at every turn, it seems like when they try to do something, and they can do things differently, right? Like, they don't have to, a lot of people are like, well, they can't create their own things. Like, give me a break. Sony bought Naughty Dog. Sony bought a bunch of studios. Sony's closed down studios. Like, there's no company that's perfect. There's no company that did it right or did it wrong, right? They're just different companies with different philosophies. So I find this interesting. Love that Microsoft stuck it to them. Let me know what you all think, because this is classic stuff. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, Crap Gamer 'em up. Thanks for watching. Crap Gamer out.